Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to break down the incredible and, let's be honest, sometimes complicated journey of studying medicine abroad. If you've ever pictured yourself in a white coat but with a global perspective, you are in the right place. So let's dive in.
So, you're thinking about studying medicine overseas? That's awesome. You're definitely not alone. But it's a huge decision, right? You've got the drive, but the path forward can look like this crazy maze of countries, costs, and applications. It can feel a little overwhelming, but don't worry. We're going to clear things up step by step.
And let's get real for a second about why so many aspiring doctors are looking abroad. The competition for spots in public universities back home in India is just ferocious, and the cost of private medical colleges, it can be astronomical. So it's really no surprise that the whole world is starting to look like one big campus.
To help you figure all this out, here's our game plan. We'll start with the trend itself, the global student boom. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of costs, go on a scholarship hunt, decode the application process, and finally, help you figure out your best next move.
Okay, first up, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. This isn't just a handful of students going abroad. We're talking about a massive shift in medical education.
You know, this quote right here just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly explains the why. This whole global boom is really a direct, practical response to the situation back home. It's all about finding accessible, high-quality medical education.
All right, let's get down to business and talk money. We're going to compare two really popular destinations for Indian students, Russia and the Philippines. But trust me, the cost isn't just about the tuition fees. There's more to it.
Okay, before we even glance at a price tag, this slide is maybe the most important one of all. You have to ask yourself, can I actually come back and practice medicine in India with this degree? And this is a huge deal. As you can see, Russia's 6-year program lines up with the National Medical Commission guidelines. But the structure in the Philippines? Right now, it doesn't. That's an absolutely critical difference for your future.
Now let's break down the day-to-day living costs. This table really shows you where your money goes every month, and a couple of things just jump right out. Take a look at accommodation and utilities. I mean, wow, Russia is way more affordable in those areas. Food might be a bit cheaper in the Philippines, but when you add it all up, your overall monthly living cost is generally going to be lower in Russia.
So what's the bottom line when you put it all together? Well, looking at just the tuition, the Philippines seems cheaper. And that makes sense because the main medical program is shorter. But remember that huge catch from before? That longer, more expensive Russian course is the one that's currently valid for practicing back in India. It's a classic trade-off. You're balancing the upfront cost against your long-term career.
Okay, we've looked at the costs, which can seem a bit daunting, but now for the really good news. You don't always have to pay for it all yourself. Let's talk about scholarships, your secret weapon to make this whole dream happen.
So when it comes to funding, you've basically got three main paths you can go down. You got scholarships from foreign governments, scholarships from the universities themselves, and then grants from private groups and NGOs. Let's check out some real examples.
Just look at this number, 490. That's not some abstract figure. That is the exact number of bachelor scholarships that the government of Kazakhstan is offering for 2025 alone. It just goes to show you, these aren't some impossible once-in-a-lifetime awards. These are real, major programs looking for students just like you. And this is exactly what we mean when we say fully funded. We're not talking about a small discount. This scholarship from Kazakhstan covers 100% of your tuition, and it gives you a monthly stipend to live on. This is the kind of opportunity that can completely flip the script on whether you can afford to study abroad.
And it's not just governments either. The universities themselves are competing for the best students. I mean, take a look. Schools in the Philippines and Georgia are offering serious financial aid, everything from a 40% discount all the way up to covering the entire tuition fee for top Indian students. The key here is to do your homework on the specific universities you're eyeing.
Okay, you know why you want to go, you've compared the costs, and you've seen that funding is out there. Now for the big one. How do you actually do it? Let's take that mountain of paperwork and turn it into a simple, step-by-step plan.
Here we go. Your 5-step plan. It all starts with really digging into the eligibility rules. Then you pick your program, get all your documents ready, and that's a big one, submit everything on time, and then you wait for the decision. It looks simple enough, but step 3, preparing those documents, is where a lot of people get stuck.
So this checklist, which is based on what you'd need for a Chinese government scholarship, gives you a fantastic idea of what to expect.
And believe me, it's not just about your grades. You're going to need a passport, notarized diplomas, recommendation letters, a medical exam, even a non-criminal record report. The big lesson here? Start gathering this stuff super early because some of these documents can take weeks to get.
And you know what? Timing is absolutely everything. Look at this typical timeline. The deadline to get everything submitted is early March for a program that starts much, much later in the year. If you only start thinking about all this in April or May, you've already missed the boat for that year. Planning ahead is totally non-negotiable.
So let's pull all of this together. We've talked about the why, the where, the how much, and the how-to. Now for the final, most important question, what's your next move?
You know, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one idea, finding the right fit. And if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that there's an order to this decision. First things first, check if the degree is valid where you plan to work. Then, weigh the total cost, tuition plus living, against your budget. Only after that can you really find the perfect university for your career goals.
So, we've laid out the costs, the scholarships, the steps. You basically have the map in your hands. The only question left is, where will you decide to begin your journey?